Hi everyone, my name is Susan Sloop with University of Illinois Extension, and I am so excited to be here with you during your summer reading program. As you dig into reading, we are going to take the next 6 weeks to dig into archaeology, and we're going to take really snippets. They're going to be very short. I'm going to be able to attach it to a book that you can read later or some other enrichment activities that you can go into. But what I'm going to come and do every week is some type of a hands-on activity that I can show you that you can then take offline, because we know we have spent a lot of time online and we want to be outside and we want to be doing things. So here's a great way for you to do that with these really short activities. You're going to love them, and you'll also be able to learn a little bit as we go. So as we think about the library, what we know is that it's full of books, and books are full of stories. Storytelling has been going on for centuries, and it's no different in what we discover. The archaeologists, those scientists who study human behavior from the past, they look and see how people lived based on the things that they left behind. And those things we leave behind tell a story. And so storytelling, like I said, we know has been going on for centuries. So people of the past love to tell stories. They also like to illustrate. Don't you love a great book with wonderful pictures that illustrates what they're trying to tell you? Well, the people of the past were no different. They loved to illustrate their stories, and they did it in pictographs or petroglyphs. And so they either painted with something on a rock, or they actually carved into the rock. So there are going to be some really great resources for you to dig into as we go further into the next 6 weeks, to either read a story about petroglyphs or the topic that we're talking about, or go to a website, visit a national park where you can actually look to see where they have discovered petroglyphs from the past. So each week in this series on archaeology, I plan on coming to you with just a snippet of information about archaeology, but really with a takeaway activity, something that you can do at home with your family that's fun and kind of gets you in touch with how things were. And so let's take a look at our first activity. And so you are going to make a petroglyph. And so you can think about what you would paint, what story would you tell, what kind of symbols would you use. It's entirely up to you. So this is your petroglyph. This is your canvas, so to speak, to tell a story. And for this activity, you just need a couple of basic supplies. And the first one is some sandpaper. Pretty easy, right? And why sandpaper, do you think? Well, when you think about the surface of a rock, it is rough like sandpaper. So we want to try to mimic that as much as we can. What the ancient people used, we also want to try to use. Now, the one thing that we're going to use that probably that people from the past did not have were crayons. So I have these great twistable crayons. You can use whatever crayon you like. This is just what I have in my house. I am in my house, by the way. So, you know, that's the way we are right now. We're working from home. So here is my rock surface. So I'm going to create a petroglyph. What's it going to tell? What kind of story do I want to tell today? So maybe I want to talk about the weather. What is something I could write about the weather? So maybe I want to talk about how sunny it is right now. So I might take my crayon and draw a sun. So I'm going to do that on the paper, and you will see when you're using the sandpaper, I don't have a nice smooth circle. Look how rough it is. So can you imagine, I want you to think about this as you're drawing on your sandpaper. Think about the images that the people of the past drew in these caves and on these rocks, how difficult it was to really draw well, right? So we can look at it and we can tell what they're drawing, but you know, did they get to practice? That's kind of, you think about, well, could they erase it? No. Could they start over? No, they just went with it. But so that's what you have to do with this as well. You can't worry about it being perfect, because We are not looking for perfection. We're just looking to get some work done. So I'm going to draw a sun, and I'll bring the camera down here so you can see what I'm doing. Let me flip it around. This is me by myself doing this, so it won't flip like it's supposed to, unfortunately. That's wonderful. Okay, so here is the sandpaper that I'll be working from, and I've already started my sun. And you can see, like I said earlier, it is not perfect, but we're not looking for perfection. And if you think about the people of the past, they just drew. They just drew. So maybe my sun has some rays coming out. Isn't that nice? Now, I am not an artist, so now as I think about a theme, if I'm telling a story, maybe I'm going to tell a story about summer. So what else could I draw in here about summer? And remember, this is telling a story of the present. So when people come back and see, they can see how people of the past, because when archaeologists come and find my cave drawing, they're going to be discovering how I used to live. So guess what? Maybe I have a picture. And what you need to think about the petroglyphs too is they couldn't draw the entire, if they wanted to draw the entire ocean or the entire swimming pool, they just drew segments. So you got an idea of the activities that they were participating in. It gives you a glimpse into the life of the people from that time. So I might be, maybe I want to be in a sailboat. You know, that would be nice. My crayon needs twisted down. So maybe I'm in a sailboat. So if you're looking at this picture from the past, you might think, well, this person obviously loved the sun and liked to be on a boat on the water. And maybe you, you know, you want to draw a tent, because other things we can do in the summer. Let's change. I'll use a purple crayon now. Maybe I want to draw a tent because this is something else that would tell a story. Maybe I'm telling a story about a time I went camping at the beach and I went on a sailboat, but someone from the future is going to be able to look at this and try to decipher what's going on, right? So they might not even know what in the world this is. Is this a tent? What is it? We don't know. They may not know what tents are in that time. So they might look at it and think, oh, it must be some type of a spaceship or something. They obviously had those things in the year, whatever they think this is. So you never know. So anyway, make your petroglyph the way you want to. Tell your story. What story would you tell? And when you think about petroglyphs, I want you to also consider the petroglyphs that we have in our world right now. There are things that we see on a daily basis that could be petroglyphs. And I want to show you an example of those. And you tell me if you think these are examples of petroglyphs. Okay? I'll take a look at these on my computer. Those pictures tell a story. Without words, you know, if you see these somewhere, you know pretty much what those mean. So these are petroglyphs. We use symbols and pictures in our world today to tell stories. So these might be things that you see in parks to let you know what's going on, what you can do. So things to think about as you are working on your petroglyph, that there's a story to tell. Another activity that we're going to do requires us to go outside, but I want to show you the ingredients first. So we have cornstarch. This had water in it, but it doesn't anymore. Cornstarch, water, and food coloring, and a spray bottle. That's all this takes. So we're going to do some petroglyphs outside because that's what we do. And you can see where I've mixed it up. You take a cup of water and 6 tablespoons of cornstarch, whisk it up together really good, and this needs to be stirred up again. And I had to use a funnel to get it into this little bitty spray bottle, but I'll shake it back up. And now we will go outside to make a petroglyph outside. All right, here I am outside, and I already told you the ingredients that you need to make to put in your spray bottle, but you also need some items. You need some objects to make this petroglyph interesting. And so I gathered some things from around my house and also a leaf for you to see how this works. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see how you can make a petroglyph on your sidewalk. All right, here are the items that I chose to make the petroglyph with. And this is just a slotted spoon. You know, remember, we're trying to tell a little bit of a story, so maybe I'm going to talk about cooking in this one. And then I just have a leaf because it's just an interesting object. And I found this wonderful snowflake, just something fun to put on the sidewalk, and my magic wand. Everybody needs one of these. So you simply take your bottle, shake it up, and then you're going to squirt it around the outside. Just squirt it all over. You want it to be a mist, so you might have other water bottles that may, you know, spray a little harder, but you really just want this to be a mist. So this spray bottle is really good. So you can tell I'm outside, can't you? You just keep spraying, spray around. So get the surface good and wet. Just keep spraying. You can see, now something to experiment with it. I may not have put enough food coloring in. We'll see what that does. Keep spraying around. Looks like there's more. Shake it up. See, it's making everything green, right? Look at my leaf, it's extra green. And the spoon and my snowflake. You could even put your hand in this because this is just cornstarch and water. It's not going to hurt you at all. It's not going to hurt your skin. So there it is. And it's also not going to hurt these objects. So if you use something like this slotted spoon, I don't want it to be ruined. I'll use it again. Alright, so now that I sprayed it on there, I'm going to take these and lift them up and see what I have. Oh, look at that. You can see a little bit of green in the concrete too. And there's the snowflake. Ooh, I think the snowflake's the best. Let's look at it from above. And there's my petroglyphs. Is that cool? All right, there is my petroglyph. You can see where I use the green food coloring, how it made the outline. So that is really cool. I hope to see some of yours as well. That would be so fun. All right, friends, I would love for you to take pictures of the petroglyphs that you create, whether it's a sandpaper petroglyph or you go outside and you create your petroglyphs on the ground. I would love to see them posted in the comments below. Don't forget, I'm also going to post links to some books that you can share, some great websites you can go to. These activities and the books and the things that I'm linking to, these all come from a great website called Reading Rockets. If you're a reader, you love to read, Reading Rockets has some great activities that you can do at home, some wonderful story-related activities that parents, I know if you're looking for things for the kids to do, that's a great resource for you. So until next week, I hope you dig into archaeology just a little bit, learn a little bit more, explore on your own, and also just dig into those books. We'll see you next week.